we were planning to come to the New Orleans area, like I haven't been to New Orleans in 25, 30 years, where do I go to look for old cars? I want to start somewhere. I Google car storage, and I found this place called Motorsport Garage, owned by a guy named Brett. Brett says, I know you. We met at Pebble Beach 100 years ago, and I've watched your program. So we're here because Woody is going to be parked in this storage facility for a few weeks till we come back and complete more episodes. But Brett says, I think I got some cars here that you would be interested in filming. And I said, and he told me what they were. And I said, yeah, I think I would. What do you have here that's worth filming?
Well, I think the most interesting vehicle is a 1970 240Z. Now, I say 1970, that was the first year of production, but this one was produced in October of '69. Its VIN number is 00021.
Well, I will take a look at it. So I speak Datsun. I happen to know Datsun.
Whatever way we can make our way back, that might be a little tight, but we can do it.
Is that a cheetah?
That's mine.
Huh.
It's not one of the real 13 that were built by Bill Thomas.
Yep.
An engineer got hold of the plans and did an exact duplicate recreation of it. And the body was actually done on the molds that came from Bill Thomas's fiberglass vendor. So the body is exactly like the
I think the first one or first couple were aluminum. So here's a car we've never seen on Barn Find Hunter. I happen to know a bit about. This is a front engine, mid engine car. It's absolutely 50-50 weight distribution, front and rear end. And am I correct in saying there's no drive shaft?
No drive shaft. Because here's your center of your axle, and the tail of the manual transmission is right here. U-joint to U-joint.
U-joint to U-joint. Can you imagine that? I became friends with Jerry Grant when I worked at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he hung around. He had friends racing. And he was a factory cheetah driver, and he said, Tom, they were so amazing, but it didn't care if it was going forward or backward because it had absolutely no weight bias. It was all right in the middle. And so he said it was great until you got to a turn and you had to get a little weird, and it just would spin like a top. And it's got a small block?
Small block, yeah, 327, which is what all the 63s were.
Yeah, wow.
And then
Bill Thomas signed it.
Muncie transmission, and Bill Thomas saw it at an event that like a cheetah reunion.
Oh yeah.
And so you got a lot of Zeus connectors, so the whole body can come off. You know, the front is a pivot bonnet, so it tilts forward. Easy access to everything underneath. I mean, easy to work on car.
So we've never seen this in 10 years of Barn Find Hunter, and I promise you we won't see one in the next 10 years. So gather it up right now. Jeez, pretty cool. So here's the Z car.
Yep.
So I'm intrigued with Z car. Now from here, it looks good. It looks like it's got shiny paint.
In reasonably good shape, body-wise.
So they all used to rot out over the rear fenders.
And it's got a little bit of work. We'll probably have to do a little metal
that's
work.
Metal, because I'm used to touching here in his Bondo.
But it sat, the guy I bought it from was a master mechanic who said the same thing. I'm going to do this car. I'm going to restore this car. I liked it for 10 years, and he finally got to the point, I'm never going to get to it, which seems to be, you know, pretty par for the course.
So this has no rear defroster. I know the very early ones had vertical defrosters, and the later ones had horizontal, but this has none.
You see those little like tan lines that would run forward.
Yeah.
I mean, we could actually move this forward if you want to see the inside.
Yeah, I think so. No, I'd like to see it because this is a car we've talked about with other people, other Datsun collectors.
But I will show you this though. You may want to come and take a look at this first. The fan's off only because we wanted to make sure that the engine spun. But let's see. Where is the numbers?
So it's got Solexes?
Right. Actually, these, we're going to have to go back
Webers,
to the original. These are Webers. We're going to have to go back to original carburetors.
SUs?
I think they're SUs.
Yeah, they're Hitachi SUs. Where is the serial number? It's somewhere etched in the body. I know that. There it is.
There we go.
0021. This is the real deal right here. So it's not a screw-off plate. This is etched into the body. I was part of the 240Z kind of generation or culture. And even though I didn't buy one new because I couldn't afford it, lots of people did. $3,495 for a car that looked like an E-Type Jaguar, was less than half the price of an E-Type Jaguar, probably a third of the price, that handled well, looked great, reliable, good resale value. You could race it, you could autocross it, you could rally it, you could just drive it to church on Sundays, whatever you want to do. The 240Z was like answering a sports car enthusiast's prayers. I wound up buying one for $900 that had a blown head gasket. And, you know, my wife and I took it around the United States, literally a lap of America, 9,000 miles. And it was so rusty when I sold it, but I was still able to get 100 miles an hour out of third gear. So I had a silver one just like this. And I used to go up to Bob Sharp. I lived on Long Island. I'd go to Bob Sharp Motors in Wilton, Connecticut, and buy parts that they would take off the street cars when they made race cars. So I bought a transmission, bought a radiator, just because the 240Z had a bad radiator, put a 280Z radiator in, that kind of thing. So, I mean, just a fantastic car. And the early ones, like everything else, are more valuable than the later ones. And this one being the 21st one off the assembly line, oh my goodness. This
October of 69.
October of 69. So these were available in Japan, a year before they were available in the States. So this is a very substantial car. Very, very good car. Wow. So how long has it been sitting here?
I've had it now close to 2 years, but I knew about it for 10 before that. And I always wanted it, but the gentleman who owned it, he was going to do it himself. And he finally got to the point, he's a little older than me. He's probably 66 or something like that, maybe a little older. And he said, I'm not going to get to it. And he was a master mechanic. He could have easily done it himself. I don't know that he would have done it the way I would do it, because I want to do it nut and bolt. It's got to go back to absolute original. It's got to be like what rolled off the factory showroom.
Great car, but you're right. This needs to go right down to the bone and be acid dipped. And then everything has to be cadmium plated. I mean, it would not be an easy restoration.
And we wanted to make sure that one of the true Z experts did the assembly. We might do the disassembly, we might do the metal work, we might do the dipping and getting the metal prepped. But we're going to ship it off and have one of the right guys do it.
And it's a 4-speed, I guess.
Because it's an early car, before they ever added the fifth gear. Surprisingly, the interior is not in bad shape.
It's got an aftermarket wheel, personal. Very nice. Huh.
I mean, it's a good candidate for the proper restoration. It's not like, found in a field and every single inch of it's rusted.
No, I can see a little bit of bubbles over here, but boy, you're a lucky guy. Let's see if I can see that mileage on there. No, I can't, but I will soon.
We could slide this forward. Okay, so the trick is maybe set it down on the on that, and then maybe hop up on the fender.
You're gonna put it over the wave runner? Oh no.
And just put it on this one.
Okay.
Just let it sit. Let me get around the other side. You get in the front, Michael.
I've got this side.
Okay.
It's pretty solid, right?
So you have louvered back window. They were an option, and that was to keep a glare off the back window.
Can't quite read it, Tom.
27,267. I would be surprised if it's only 27,000, because I'm looking at the pedals, the pedal pads on the clutch, and it's probably 127.
You think it's probably 127.
Yeah. Do you have the other seat, the passenger seat?
I think we have it up front, and then we have a whole bunch of other parts.
So these are recovered seats. The original ones had little breather holes, like GT40.
Little almost like little dime sized.
Yeah, like a GT40 or a Ferrari or something. So it's missing a tail light and the bumpers. They might be in the back there somewhere. So I know a guy who just took his collection of rare Z's to maybe Meekum, and he sold them for more than $1 million.
I think he had a white one that was a very low number, but I think it was like 150 or 200 VIN.
Could be, yeah.
And I think it was over $200,000 or
right.
thereabout.
Yep. If you wanted to sell this, you would have. I know people that would want to talk to you about this if you wanted to sell it. Very nice. Hey guys, Hagerty Marketplace has auctions you can trust from a name you know. It's free to sell with dedicated support before, during, and after your auction. Hagerty Marketplace Auctions makes it easy to get the most out of your car. Click the link in the description below to find out more. Mike, come on over here. I'm going to give you a chance to talk about your college program here. So you go to what college?
I go to Tulane University here in New Orleans.
What year are you in?
So I'm a grad student now, so I went all 4 in undergrad and decided to stay a few more years.
And what's your major?
So my major was in environmental studies and strategic leadership, but now it's about disaster preparation and resilience. So business continuity planning and what do you do when there's a hurricane and how do you survive?
You came to the right place.
Yeah, no kidding.
We are in the epicenter of all that.
I bet. But on weekends, you're involved with this. So tell us, Tulane University has a racing program?
So on weekends, I have a very different hobby. We're the Tulane Formula Racing Club, and this is our 1976 Lola T342. So it's powered by one of the most unassuming motors you'd ever imagine. It's the 1.6 liter Kent motor out of a Cortina, or here in the US, it's the first 2 years of the Pinto.
Right.
So this car, we bought it out of Los Angeles, and we had it driven all the way up here on a trailer, and since then it's been maintained, driven, and raced all by students.
Including you?
Yes.
Really? You race it in vintage?
Yeah, so we took it out with SVRA and Speed Tour, and we take it out to autocross. We were lucky enough to get selected to go to the Audrain Motor Week, so we went up there and hung out with Donald Osborne and Jay Leno, and got to drive this on the streets of Newport, which is always a fun event.
Man. So, Formula Ford, this is part of your program as well?
Well, this was a personal car that Brett's son Preston and I bought when I was a sophomore in college, and I could never afford a Trans Am Mustang, and my aunt had a Boss 429 Mustang when my dad was younger, and he had a 1969 Mustang that he drove to college and high school in. But I couldn't afford any of those. So Preston and I found this thing. It's a 1965 Comet Caliente that was being raced as a circle track car. And we put a 390 rear end in it to give us a little bit longer legs and converted to road racing. So we went through the suspension, unfortunately had to go through the motor.
And so you found this in Connecticut. How'd you find it in Connecticut?
It got accidentally posted by a friend on a Facebook group chat, and it's like, well, it's here in New Orleans, let's go take a look at it. And then it was one of those situations where you just fall in love with the car and, maybe make an unwise decision. And
So it's got no doors, you got to climb in like NASCAR style.
yeah, so it has
welded up.
front to rear, it's caged together, so behind the front bumper, you have bash bars all the way to the side to the rear, so it's a relatively safe car. Mm-hmm. But
And so where have you raced this?
so we've taken this out to Circuit Grand Bayou, which is in Belrose, Louisiana, about an hour and a half away from here. And then we take it out to NOLA Motorsports Park, which is more geared towards street cars, but it was just fun to get it out to a track event. And
it runs well, it handles well?
Yeah.
handles well is kind of a stretch, but
Yeah, okay.
it's a lot of fun to drive. It's coming from racing the little formula cars to driving something big like this. It's the two ends of the spectrum. Small, tight steering, really quick, and kind of a big lumbering beast.
So what do you want to
around
be when
track.
you grow up?
This is kind of a hobby I just got into in high school. I was lucky enough to work at Fantasy Junction with Bruce and Spencer Trenery, and being 17, 18 years old working on some of the best cars in the world, and it just never really stopped.
Isn't that cool? So do you think cars will remain a part of your future?
I mean, as a car guy, it's something we can't really ever get rid of.
That's very true.
No matter how hard we try, it's always going to be part of us, and it's just so much fun. Why would you want to stop?
No, I'm 70 years old and I haven't yet. So, okay, so here's another method of finding old cars. I'm always finding methods to find old cars. Another one is get online, pick a city, get online, and look up car storage facilities. That's how I met Brett. I just met Mike. We've learned about the Tulane program. More and more cities have this kind of place because people don't have enough room at home. It's too cold. They don't want to leave it in the driveway, or they don't want their spouses to know about it. See, I use the word spouse there because there might be women that are hiding cars from their husbands as well. Anyway, a new way to look at it. Guys, thanks a lot for your time. Happy hunting.